Passed in 1954, Brown v. Board of Education declared laws establishing that separate public schools for black and white students was unconstitutional. Although there's been a lot of progress made since then, there's still numerous instances where we see racially unequal schools existing in America today. A racially unequal school is basically a school with an unequal disbursement of races among its students. As research has shown, the average white student in America attends a school that is 73% white, 8% African American, 12% Latino, and 4% Asian American. In contrast, research has also shown that the average African American student attends a school that is 49% black, 17% Latino, 4% Asian American, and 28% white. So keeping these statistics in mind, how do these racial demographics affect students inside and outside of the classroom, if they do at all? According to Sarah Childress from Frontline, in some places, public schools are just as segregated as they were in 1968. But does it even matter? Let's find out. According to Jamie Bowie, the problem today is that gains towards desegregated schools are actually completely reversing. Additionally, the Civil Rights Project shows that minority students across the country are way more likely to attend minority-majority schools than they were a whole entire generation ago. Another researcher, Matt Leonard, concerningly expressed that when schools are separated this way, they actually become sites of risk rather than learning. The reversal of progress, as well as this research, shows that the separation within schools like this can affect students academically as well as socially. In regards to academics, Kristen Kane states that increasing evidence from observational studies indicates that students attending minority-segregated schools are in fact at risk for constrained performance in reading and other subject areas. Perhaps this is due to the fact that the racial demographic in these classrooms doesn't represent what's actually in society today. Additional research suggests that concentrating students with social and economic disadvantages in racially and economically homogeneous schools depresses those disadvantages even further. Due to this, students who may not have otherwise may now have the potential to suffer in school due to its lack of racial diversity. Debatably, the largest downfall of racially unequal schools is the effect on students socially, as well as society as a whole. According to Sarah Childress from Frontline, there are two fundamental purposes of public education. One is to promote social mobility so that a child, no matter his or her circumstances, can, through a good education, go where her God-given talents would take her. The second purpose is to strengthen our democracy by creating intelligent and open-minded citizens, and related to that, to build a social cohesion. Children's statements encourage us to wonder, how can children accomplish this if they remain in a racially unequal school? So what do? How do we keep these things from happening, and how do we prevent something that seems to have existed forever? How do we prevent racially unequal schools from continuing to exist in society today? According to research, convergence is key. In the past, convergence in schools between black and white students has led to significantly long-run effects of reducing racial gaps in disability. But is it that simple? Is it that easy to converge racially unequal schools in a matter of weeks, months, years, if even? As research has shown, incentives can greatly help with integration among schools. For example, parents may be rewarded for sending their child to a specific school that creates more racial diversity among students. By beginning to integrate racially unequal schools, research has shown that improvements in school quality have been drastic and noticeable. Additionally, ethnographic studies of students who participated in racial integration programs did in fact confirm that students of different races benefit from working together and are better prepared for civic engagement. So ultimately, they're better prepared for life in the outside world. And isn't that the goal of any classroom? It has also been observed that by teaching students about segregation, they are more inclined to communicate with others and may be less reluctant to separate themselves by race or other characteristics. So generally creating a more accepting community. Thanks for listening.